today, okay, what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of exercise to give yourselves more conviction, okay? What seems to happen along our diet journey, just along our life journey in general, is we get beat down so much and we fail so much that subconsciously we're scarred, and these failures subconsciously control our actions and they control how we think. Okay, type in the comments. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? All these failures kind of subconsciously control how we live. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to get us out of that kind of negative self-talk and that self-talk that can spiral out of control, and I want to bring us back into a positive mindset, and I want to give proof to everybody individually of why you are on the right path. Okay, so the theme of today is certainty. Okay, and the opposite of certainty, guys, is overwhelm. Okay, the opposite of certainty is overwhelm. So put your hand up if you're feeling overwhelmed with anything. Hey, Massimo, is anybody overwhelmed by anything in life, not just diet and fitness related? I am. I'm overwhelmed all the time. Yes, thanks, Jennifer. Yes, Martha too. So what happens when we're overwhelmed, or we feel stress, or we feel anxiety, that means there's a lack of certainty somewhere in our life. Okay, when there's no certainty, it's because the next steps or the solutions aren't clear. So how do we bring back certainty into our life so we can get rid of overwhelm? Okay, because overwhelm is the number one reason for inaction. When you are overwhelmed, when you are anxious, when you are stressed, that is when you are the most vulnerable to do nothing. Okay, is this making sense so far, guys? You can use the comments. So what I want to do, like I was saying, is I want to reassure your certainty, okay? I want you to teach you guys how to get rid of overwhelm, because overwhelm is the killer of results, okay? Because what happens, let's apply this to a diet. When we're overwhelmed in a diet, when we don't know what to do, so say we don't know how to curb our cravings, or we don't know how to get back on track or whatnot, okay? When we don't know how to do those things, what do? We do nothing. We do nothing because the solution is unclear, okay? And the path to giving up is easier than the path to continue, okay? So we all have our paper, okay? And what we're gonna do, so how do you fight overwhelm, guys? It's very simple. You have to continually provide yourself with evidence and with proof that you are in and going on the right direction. So what do I mean by that, okay? So on your piece of paper, I want you guys to write down the 3 big things you want out of life. 3 big things you want to achieve or be in life. 3 big things, okay? You want to achieve, or 3 big things you want to be in life, okay? So an example for me, I want to own a powerful, impactful business. That's my number 1. Number 2, I want to be a leader in my household and be a good example and good spouse. Okay, whatever, like take a second and think about it. 3 big things that you want to achieve in life, okay, or that you want to be, okay? So what do you want people to remember you as, okay? Once you have those 3 things, okay, underneath them or beside them or wherever there's space, I want you to write, how do you know that you will achieve those things? How do you know that you are on the right path to actually getting to those things? Okay, so an example, so you can think about it, you don't have to write right away. This is a very, very deep, intense exercise. So an example would be for me, so mine was, I want to be an impactful business owner. So how do I know that I'm going to achieve that one day? Well, what are the steps that I'm taking every day? What is the proof that I am giving to myself that I will get there? So an example would be, Ryan and I have invested over $500,000 in courses and in mentors and in programs. Ryan and I both have invested over $500,000 into growing our skill set, into having mentors to teach us how to have a better business, how to take care of clients better. So that's something that I know. So whenever I'm questioning my ability to be a business owner and to run an impactful business, I can always look back and think, hey, I've invested over $500,000 into growing my skill set, into becoming this. Okay, is this making sense, guys? Show of hands, kind of seeing how this all comes circle. Okay, good. So you have your 3 big things, okay, and beside each one of them, what are you doing? What is the evidence? Not feeling, not vague, get specific. Okay. So if one of your things is, I want to be fit and healthy. Okay. What are you doing to be fit and healthy? And not just what are you doing differently? Because we've all tried to get health and like fit and healthy in the past. Why is this time any different? What have you changed, right? Has something shifted up here? Have you invested more money than you're used to, right? Have you invested more time and energy than you have? Have you seen and proven that you've lost 20 pounds and you've kept it off for 6 months? So what's the actual facts and evidence proving to yourself that you are certain to hit these goals? Does that make sense, guys? We following? Okay. Has anybody finished one of their options? Anybody? Yeah, Jennifer? Okay. Jen, unmute yourself. Let's chat about it. Let's talk through it. Hold on. You're on mute, Jen. I'll get you. All right. Go ahead.
Be successful.
Be successful. All right. What are you doing to prove to yourself that you'll be successful?
So this goes from work and personal.
Right.
So I'm such a huge goal setter. So I make the individual plans for myself at home and at work.
Cool.
So at work, it's IDPs, like you said.
Love it.
And stuff. And at home is the diets and my personal life at home, how I interact with people. So I try and make personal goals that way.
Love it. I love it. So perfect. So let's dive even deeper, Jennifer. Okay. What are you doing? So how are you interacting with people to actually create those successful relationships? So what are you doing consciously? So specific examples. Do you have one?
So one of my goals was communication.
Okay.
One of my goal setting was to learn more to communication.
Love it.
On a personal level, and so I've been trying not to lose my temper.
Beautiful. That's what I was looking for. Good.
Instead of yelling, I find other ways to say what I want to say.
Beautiful. And you've proven that to yourself and you've implemented those things?
Yes.
Love it. So see, that's awesome. So I love it. That was nice and specific. So in the future, when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you're not growing, when you feel like you're not progressing, you can look back on these moments and realize, no matter how small the step forward, you have proof that you are moving in the right direction. You may be stalled in the moment, but you can look back and see how far you've come and exactly what you've done to reassure yourself, give yourself certainty, reduce the overwhelm, and keep moving forward. So that is awesome. So I love it. Like the continuing education courses, for sure. Reducing your temper, like that's awesome. Anything else?
Being happy.
Being happy. There's a big one I bet everybody has.
I'm trying not to be so negative. Like, not that I've been overwhelmed. This whole thing you're talking about is exactly what I've been through the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
So I stalled.
Yep.
So the anxiety, everything you mentioned, I've suffered.
Yep.
And I hate to use these excuses, but sometimes the mind and the body just shut down.
Yep. Exactly.
So, but being happy, I try and find ways to not be negative.
Love it.
Like today was rainy, but I looked at two pasta and said, look, it's gorgeous out. And I went out for a run today.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I love it. And even more specific, guys, like what Jen is going through, everybody goes through. And she's so brave for just admitting that. Like we all feel that way. Like Jen, good for you. Like I could hear the emotion in your voice.
Yeah.
Like this is why I'm doing this, because we're overwhelmed and we will continue to be overwhelmed, but you have to fight the overwhelm. Okay. It is the biggest killer of goals. It makes us shrink and hide in our shells and take no action. So if you have these lists, and just so you guys know, these lists are alive. They're alive. They're always and should be always growing. They should be bigger and bigger and bigger because we should always be doing things to prove to ourselves that we are in the right direction, right? So, you know how I was saying I want to be an amazing business owner and create an impactful business. Well, I am currently spending money on a course. Currently. It's not a course I did a year ago. I'm currently. So you have to keep up with it and keep editing that list and adding to it. So when we feel these moments, we pull out our list and we say, shut up, little voice in my head. Look at everything I've done. Look what everything I continue to do. and then it doesn't impact you as much. So that's awesome. And what I would challenge you to do, Jennifer, even further, what does being happy mean? And that's a big question.
Right now, I'm trying, like everyone else, I'm sure, is the biggest accomplishment I've made so far in the month with being overwhelmed is actually making it into work and not shutting down.
Okay.
I took day by day, which I still am. I don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow because I get crazy.
Yeah.
Because that just freaks me out more because it's more of whatever. I take the small wins and then move on, and then the next day is another
Beautiful.
thing.
Beautiful.
I don't like doing that because I'm a pre-planner.
Yep. You got to adjust with the time. Yeah. You got to know what's going to work.
Shut down.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why we're building this, to keep you guys from shutting down. All right, let's move on. Thank you, Jennifer. Vishal. Woo, woo, woo. All right, Mr. Vishal, are you off mute? Can you hear me? There you go.
Yep, I can hear you very well.
All right, give me one of the 3 things that you had.
All right, so primarily, I want to build at least 2 abs.
Yep, got it. So there we go. There's thing number 1. What are you doing to prove to yourself that you will get there?
So I'm working towards it for the last almost a year now.
Love it. You've been consistent with a routine for a year. That's huge proof. What else?
So the next thing is that, I am, with the weather getting better, I would be more on the tracks this year as well. Last year I did around 3,500 kilometers.
Cool.
So the plan is to do another 3,500 this year at least, if weather and the COVID both permits.
Beautiful. Yes. And I want to add something to that. So I'm sure, guys, all of your lists will have something to do with health on it. And I have to say, one of the biggest things that should be providing proof and evidence that you're going to reach your goals is the fact that you are on this call right now. Add that to your list. This is proof. This is evidence. You took time out of your day. You're doing the exercise. Okay, you signed up for this program. You didn't crawl in a hole and hide until this was all over. You stepped out of your comfort zone. You rearrange your finances to make this work. Like, people are in, they're in like selfish mode, and rightfully so. It's scary times, right? They're hoarding everything, they're hiding, and you guys aren't. So add that to your list. That is huge. You guys, health is up here for you. It's down here for everybody else right now. You've kept it up here. So if that's not proof that you're going to reach your goals, I don't know what the hell is. Right? What else, Vishal? What else?
And the other thing is that, like Jennifer was talking about the career, we all, at least for me, I am a landed immigrant here. So in one or other way, everybody here is more than likely a landed immigrant. If not you, maybe your grandparents or great grandparents. So we are all building up one step at a time. Coming from a different background altogether, came here, started working in a call center, and now I'm working in core IT, which is my forte, and that's what I'm doing. I'm working on a time boxed approach on my career as well, so that I'm making sure that I'm making the 2 ends meet, as well as getting time for myself and my family.
Love it.
And moving up ladder one step at a time. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Perfect. Exactly.
Maybe you never know. Like, you might find me a C-level guy a couple of years down the line.
And I like that. So get even more specific with it. So kind of, if you have this specific goal in mind for your career, map it out. Where did you start?
Yep.
What income did you start at? How many hours a week were you working? How did you feel working there? All these things, and map out the timeline to where you got today.
Yep.
Because sometimes just saying I got a promotion isn't good enough. You need to see how far you've come, right? The more evidence, the less overwhelm. More evidence, less overwhelm. So get even more specific with it next time. That's really, really good. Totally. Cool. Anything else to add?
No, that's about it. That's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Martha, you're up, darling. All right, I unmuted you. Oh, no, there you go. All right, Miss Martha, care to share one of your things?
Oh, well, I have some small ones.
Yeah, go for it.
I've always been the type where I want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
For example, for years, I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar.
Okay.
So I've actually, I'm borrowing a guitar, and I'm actually going to teach myself how to do it since I have nowhere to go right now.
Mm-hmm.
And just stay focused on that, because I tend to set goals and then deviate from them. And then I always seem to come up with an excuse. So it's the same thing when it comes to my health and
Yep.
trying to stay fit. I want to maintain a certain fitness level and then eating regimen, but I always tend to, go away from it.
Yeah.
So I have that. So those are one of the two. But I think my biggest challenge on the personal side is more what's going on up here.
Okay.
There are people that can go for a jog or do yoga and just clear their mind.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that because as soon as I start to jog or try to do yoga, my mind just runs and runs and runs. I think about everything, whether it's like right now with everything that's happening. If I were to try to go for a run, that's all I'd be thinking about, family and friends and, what's going to happen with the economy. So I'm trying to find a way to shut off my mind when I need to, especially when it comes to sleeping.
Okay.
There's times where I'm up pretty late because I can't shut off my mind.
Okay. Love it. So let's work through that together. So first thing I would say, make a list of everything that pops into your head. Okay. We don't have a million things that pop into our head. It's usually the same thing, right? Finances, to-do list, blah, 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 blah. It's usually a small list of the same general things that always pop in our head. Yes?
Yes.
Right? Like, oh my God, am I going to have enough money for this? Oh my God, I hope my parents are okay. It's generally the same thing. So you make a list of that. Okay. And that's what your focus is. You make a list of the common things that run through your head. And then based off of those things, you write down your proof and your evidence. So for you, it's a little different. We don't need to go big, broad goals in life. We need to take it day by day. Okay. So if your big, broad goal is to get out of your head, we have to start day by day, write down those things. And then for an example, so everybody's worried about what's happening with the economy, right? Am I going to be okay? Are you going to survive? What are you doing to calm yourself? What are you doing to reassure yourself, to bring back certainty that you will make it out okay? And if the answer is, I don't know, then that's okay too, because now you know where your focus needs to be, on which item you're thinking about, where your focus needs to be. Does that make sense, Martha?
Yes.
Yes? So that's another way you can use this too, because if you don't have proof or evidence for something that you've written down, that's where your attention should be. Okay? So an example of, if you're worried about the economy, well, what are you doing, right? Ryan and I have shut down the gym. It's going to go on 2 months being shut down. Our main livelihood is shut down. We could be freaking out, and some days we are, because we have cracks. We're human too. But what are we doing to calm ourselves and to reassure ourselves that we're going to be fine? We're going to make it out okay. In fact, we're going to make it out even better. So some examples that we're doing is we've moved online. We are really, really pushing online. We are learning every day about new social media platforms to get in front of new people. We've learned about more platforms like Zoom that we're using now to connect with you guys better and to deepen our relationships with our clients. So these are all lists all checkpoints on my list so that I know that I'm going to be okay no matter what happens, because I am trying my best. You can also go as simple as I've applied for some of the money from the government. Like, what are the list? The more you have, the better. I have this much in my savings. I've cut off this. So I have, I've saved this here. I can budget my groceries. Like, what are you doing to protect yourself there? Give yourself peace of mind, because it's really, really simple, guys. It's super, super simple. If you have more pros than cons, you can't focus on the cons. They slowly disappear. And that's the goal. Everybody has this crazy, especially women, we just have like a to-do list of like a million things. For some reason, we take that on. And it's buzzing and it's buzzing and it's buzzing. And we can't focus, so nothing gets done. Everything gets half done. And then, have you ever, what's the phrase? It's like you work so hard all day, but got nothing done. Who's been there? Like unproductive. Yeah, right? Like unproductive. You started a million little things, you finished nothing, and you didn't move forward in any way. That's wrong. That is inefficient. That is going to get you nowhere in life. You just end up back at the same spot at the end of every day. That's when you start saying there's not enough hours in the day, because there's more than enough hours in the day. More than enough. And if you've convinced yourself that there's too much overwhelm in your life. See how that kind of comes back? So what else, Martha? What are you thinking?
No, I would have to agree with that, because I don't know how many times, I've been it's been suggested to me, why don't you get up early, work out, and then go to work? Yeah, obviously right now with the situation, I can't physically drive to work. Mm-hmm. But just to give you an example, this morning I was up early to do the workout. I made my breakfast. I took my dog for a walk. And then I was ready to start work at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So I managed to do all of that. I was explaining that to a friend, and a friend of mine just said, well, I'm tired just hearing what your morning was like. I'm going back to bed. But before, it's like I always had that excuse to get up extra early to go work out and do this and do that and then get into work.
Yep.
I think it's just a matter of how you push yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thought, I'll bring it back too. The thought of doing those things before was overwhelming. It was more effort than to not do it. But by working through the overwhelm, giving yourself the evidence, it becomes very clear what you need to do next. Do you understand that? It becomes very clear what your next steps should be. We don't act or we make excuses when we don't know what our next step should be. Okay? Or we have a bunch of different steps in our head and we don't know which one to focus on, which is where you're at. So that's why bring it back, find the evidence. Where is it lacking? Start there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Anything else you want to share there?
No.
No? All right. Angela, coming to you, girl. All right.
Myself. Oh, did I?
I gotcha.
Myself.
All right. Let us begin, shall we? Give me one of your things.
So one of my things was, and I've always been pretty worldly, but sorry, I have to mute my television, but it's on because my dog keeps barking because she can hear outside. So if you keep seeing me distracted, it's because she's doing something crazy and I'm trying to stop bark on the phone. So I love to travel and I like to see the world. So one of my things that I put back into the scope of my list is to travel the world and enjoy new experiences. Because I think people tend to become very stagnant in their routines, and I don't want to be. I'm extremely type A personality. You can ask Martha. I'm extremely energetic, and so I like to get out and experience. I like to travel the world. I like to see what's out there, and that's kind of one of the big things on my list. My parents are, to what Michelle said, foreigners. So my parents are immigrants to Canada. Okay. So both of my parents are European. My father passed away 3 years ago, and I said, this is the year that I go back to visit my relatives. I don't really speak the language. I speak it mildly. I want to go back. And so I've kind of sent them the message, and I said, hey, I want to come. And they're like, you come, our door's open. So they're expecting, and it was going to happen, except for now with COVID, I don't know what the heck is happening. Mm-hmm. So I kind of laid down the groundwork. And it's interesting because I've also, again, accountabilities. What am I doing? I left my job.
Wow.
So technically speaking, I've got 2.5 weeks left.
Okay. Wow.
And this was planned pre-COVID. So now I'm kind of in a, holy crap, what is happening? I can't do anything now that I'm leaving anyways. So I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do now? So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm going to look at one of my other priorities on my list, which happens to be happiness paired with overall good health.
Love
That's
it.
One of the next thing on my list. So it kind of conjointly goes with that, because you're right. This is one of those things. Social distancing, great. I can wait for the weather to clear and stop. Don't you dare. Wait for the weather to clear and stop doing whatever it's doing, and then I can get out and do rollerblading or do those kind of things that don't require other people, that allow me to get out and do what I like to do when the weather will permit, and when all the gravel and the salt and junk is gone off the road.
Love it.
Are gone off the road. So that's kind of that, and being at peace. Sorry.
No worries.
This is not going to go well. Sorry. Sorry, get off of me. So one of those things with happiness is you've got to be at peace with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at an okay place. I'm not jumping into another job because, to be perfectly honest, I was going to get the way that I structured it with work. I'm kind of fortunate in how I worked that out. I've got vacation accrued. I've got all that stuff. So the time off was going to be used traveling. The time off was going to be used doing other things. And that piece of it is what makes me happy.
Okay.
Is that I can do that. And I'm not stressed about finances. I'm not stressed. I'm a little stressed about coming back to a job or the opportunity to find another job. A little bit, yes. But right now, it's not a concern of mine, and I'm not going to stress about it until I need to stress about it.
Love it.
So that's kind of like, all right, no problem. I'm not creating any more gray hair than I absolutely need to, and that kind of looks after itself. Where at the same time, now we're coming into good weather. It allows for fitness. So I'm just kind of using the opportunity, using the season, and kind of making it work for itself. And then when COVID gets lifted, then I can extend out to the other opportunities of travel, my hobbies, some of my hobbies, Martha, some of my hobbies were supposed to take me traveling, and that stuff kiboshed, but it's on the back burner. So it will still allow it to present itself a little bit later. It's just delayed.
Yeah. And that's good. Because you said you even started.
It's delayed, but it's still there. It's in the hopper, and it's just waiting for the right opportunity to make it happen. So it's still there. It's just delayed.
Yeah, exactly. You said you got everything in motion. You had all intentions to do it. That's your evidence that's your proof when you're getting the itch and you're feeling antsy and you are feeling sorry for yourself that you didn't get to go. You can look at the evidence and say it's not if, it's when.
Yep.
Definitely. Yep. I love that. That's awesome. And yeah, make a lemonade out of lemons, right? And that's what you're doing.
And then Martha's there, she's kind of grinning and nodding, whatever. Like, she knows. I'm just like, I'm not a stress case. That's just how I operate. It's like, I stress about some things. This is not one of those things I stress about. So it's like, all right, let's put the stress where I need it. Not everything is a stress thing. Not everything requires stress. So stress over the things that really matter, not over the things that really don't.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. And some people have that. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. And part of it is knowing the difference. What's the difference? How do I know what do I stress about and what do I not stress about? Well, you stress about the things, I think, that you can't change.
Or you can't necessarily control.
Correct. But I mean, you don't need to stress about things that you have total control over and you can guide in the direction that you want it to, because you know what? I'm not going to stress about something because I can make it do, or I can make that, I can impact the outcome of that. So if I can impact the outcome, there's no sense in stressing about it because it'll turn out the way that I want it to, and whatever way that is A-okay with me. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you got it all figured out. You handle your stress a little bit better. I'm going to Google this right now. There's this prayer. I think it's called the Serenity Prayer. Let's see if I can find it. So the Serenity Prayer right here. And this is something I really, really love. And it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
I don't know if you know this, but that's also a mantra. Not that I've ever been to AA, but that's also a mantra for AA. It's interesting.
I didn't know that.
It really is. It is, because that's when you have to go through the motions of righting the wrongs and all that kind of thing. So I only know that because somebody had to right wrongs with me and they went through this program thing. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? So I happen to know that that's one of those things. So.
Yeah, and it's good. And I'm going to say it one more time too, so guys can hit everybody. So God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what you're hitting on, Angela. The wisdom to know the difference, right? And how do you know the difference? You have to write down the proof and the evidence, see where you're lacking, see what you can reassure yourself, and then you focus there. It's that simple. It becomes difficult when the emotions become high and they become heightened, and that overwhelm is so high it clouds what your next step should be. But if you just always take a second and go back to your evidence and go back to your proof, you'll always make it through. You'll always know your next step.
Or it's heightened if you're OCD, because I got that too.
Or type A.
I can see her face. I can so see her face because I'm totally
OCD. You want to say something so bad.
Sometimes I stress about the specifics of how something happens. Never mind, I'm gonna get there. I don't like how it's going while it's getting there, and that sometimes stresses me out. So I kind of have to rein it back sometimes, and I'm okay. Let's recalibrate. It's going there. Just calm the hell down.
Exactly. Yes. Sometimes, things don't go as planned. Things don't go the way we want them to, but they get us there anyway.
Yep.
Sometimes that's all you can focus on. Anything else to add, my dear?
No, I'm good.
You're good? All right. Thank you, Angela. Massimo. I unmuted you, my friend.
Hello. How are
Hey,
you?
Mass. Did you do your little exercise?
I did.
All right. Give me one of those 3 things.
I guess it involves all of us being healthy mentally and physically.
Cool.
And for so many years, I've looked at the physical part and how I felt physically, and haven't worked on myself mentally. That's something I definitely want to change about myself.
Okay.
And things I can do is maybe reading more, meditating.
Cool.
I lack sleep, so ways to get me to sleep a lot better. A lot of these workouts I want to try to do in the morning, but
Yep.
I have a hard time getting up, getting motivated. So those are things I'm just trying to work on.
Cool. Okay. So you said those are all great things to do, but what are you doing? What's one thing you are doing? Give me some proof right now. What did you do today?
Well, I cycled.
There you
in the
go.
morning. Did a 45-minute cycle, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do tonight's workout, which I did.
Oh, wow.
A little slower, but I managed to get it done.
Good. Beautiful.
So
What else are you doing? Anything not physical activity related to help with your mental health?
I got a meditation app.
Okay.
I'm starting to do every morning this week, so
Beautiful.
if that's going to help. I
Beautiful.
also want to try to get back into yoga, which I used to do
Okay.
a few years ago. But again, that's another physical aspect. But,
That's okay. I like that. So the meditation app. So that's awesome. And this is like super important, guys, because sometimes we don't. So, it's all fine and dandy to say these are the things I should do. But realistically speaking, we don't do them all the time, right? Like if it was that easy, we'd all be models with 6-packs, right? We'd all be models 6-packs if it was that easy to do what we were supposed to do. But that's, again, why it's so important to keep growing your list and keep adding to your list. Because even if today, one of my goals is to increase my mental health, but today I didn't do anything, that's okay. If today I didn't do anything, that's okay. I know I'm going to look at my list. I know that I did something this week already. And I know, you can choose from that list from something else to do, or you can find something new to do, but it's okay if you don't do it that day, as long as you always refer to that list, the evidence, the proof. And as long as you can prove to yourself that list keeps growing, you can put your mind at ease. So that's the difference. So I asked you, Mass, what did you do? Even if you said nothing, that's fine. Right? I'm not going to call you out on it. I would just say you'd have to look at your list and make sure you do something tomorrow or this week to add to that list, right? There's no right or wrong speed or pace to grow the list. It's your own list. Everybody, goes at their own pace. Some people grow at cheetah pace. Some people grow at snail's pace. As long as you can prove to yourself that you are still growing, that's literally all that matters, because you can only you have to lead by example. Everybody in your life, you're a leader. Everybody you love looks up to you, whether you believe it or not. And if you don't have conviction in your abilities, nobody else will. Nobody else will, right? I have to have conviction in my health and fitness right now, so you guys have conviction in your health and fitness. And if I didn't, you'd hear it. You'd hear it in my voice. Even if I was lying and saying it, you'd still hear my voice, and it would translate to your results. So it's just about, as long as you can keep proving to yourself that you're progressing in whatever way possible, right? If you know that looking at the number on the scale and not seeing it move is a trigger to you, then you need to have a bunch of tools in your toolbox, a bunch of evidence ready to show that you're still progressing, even though that one thing didn't. Does that make sense? Yeah, perfect. So, like pictures, inches, body fat, X, Y, and Z. I feel stronger. My stamina's better. I got more workouts in this week. I did it faster this week. Like there needs to be some kind of improvement every week. every week. I'm not going to say every day, okay? Because every day, if we put that pressure on ourselves, we end up feeling guilty a lot of the time when we don't hit it. But every week, you need to be progressing somehow, some way, and just keep building those lists. Anything else you want to add, Mass?
Aside from that, second thing was being a successful business owner, as like yourself, and it's been just over 2 years now that I've had my own business, so it's a struggle. We're closed right now, as you guys are, but I'm not letting it bother me because my health means much more than anything monetary. But it's not like I do have a roof over my head. I do have money in the account, so I'm not letting that bother me.
Exactly. So that's a really cool point there. So Massimo already has his list in his head about that thing. So Massimo doesn't really even need to write a list for that thing because he knows he'll get there. Anyway, he's not even stressing. Just like Angela, they have these points. They're not even stressing about those things. So you don't even need to, write evidence for that because right now that's not on your mind. So that's a really good point you brought up there. You're not stressing about it. You know you have money saved up. It's more important to be healthy and to have a roof over your head. Like those are all awesome points. You're not stressing about that because your evidence outweighs the stress. It crushes the stress. So that's awesome. I'm glad you brought up that point. Does anybody else want to add anything? Did I miss anybody? Who else is in? Oh, Ashley's in the call. Hey, Ash.
Hello.
Did you do your exercises?
Yes, I did.
You did? All right. Read me one.
I said to be an inspiration to others.
Okay.
And some of the lists I got was post my weight loss journey.
Cool.
Stay with this program.
Cool.
Show family and friends healthier options.
Cool.
Empathize with others. Keep going until I reach my goals and document my progress.
Beautiful. Why is it important to you to be an inspiration?
I don't know. I feel like everyone inspires somebody else. And like, I have a bunch of people around me that have inspired me who probably don't even know it. And so I feel like that's a big thing.
Oh, that's nice. You want to be the light that other people were for you. Beautiful. I love it. And your list was really good too, but you have to prove that list to yourself, right? It all sounds good in theory. We're all really good at finishing our homework.
Yeah.
Right. But how many times do we actually act it out? Who's better at written assignments than presentations in front of people? Right. Right. Nobody likes talking in front of people. So it's really important that you keep proving that. So that list was perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for when I say evidence and proof. Like that was nice and specific. You had a lot of different options to choose from, but it doesn't mean anything unless you've actually proven that to yourself. Okay. It's not in theory. You're actually doing it, which you are. You're part of this program, but you said you continued this program. So you got to prove to yourself, right? Don't just write things because they sound good. Write things and follow through. So you have to be very careful what you're writing too. Okay, don't write things because they sound good, because on the flip side, if you do that and you go back and read that list and you see that thing that you thought sounded good and you never did it, that's discouraging.
Okay.
That's overwhelming. That proves to yourself that you're not a woman or a man of your word. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a lot of psychology behind it. So that's really awesome. What else you got? Is that the big one?
I got a healthy BMI.
Healthy BMI? Awesome. Awesome. And then along the same lines would be the same evidence. But again, you have to constantly prove it.
Yeah,
something like that. You go ahead.
Working 3 times a week, the meal plan, the online community. I'm physically losing weight. And this, I don't really know if this counts, but a bedtime.
No, yeah, go for it. Everything counts. Everything. The bigger the list, the less overwhelmed, right? The certainty has to outweigh the overwhelm. So add to that list, okay? Really good there. When you pick a goal like BMI, so BMI is very like number related, right? So if you guys are going to choose like number related issues, like I want to be a millionaire, or I want to save up X amount of money to go on vacation, right? If there's numbers, you have to have numbers in your evidence, if that makes sense, right? So if, Martha, if you're worried about what's going to happen to the economy, you have to say, well, how much money do I need a month to get by? And then you need to find where you're finding that money from. All right, my grocery budget is this. I'm making a side hustle and getting this much per month. You need numbers to back up a numbers goal. So if your goal is a healthy BMI, what number is that? And then what numbers are you seeing to prove that? Is your weight going down? Are your inches going down? Is your pant size going down? Is your workout time going down?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So actually get specific. Same with like mass, like growing a business. Like you want to be a successful business owner. What the heck does that mean for you? Okay. As entrepreneurs, I don't know if anybody knows much about entrepreneurship, but as entrepreneurs, we are not very good with numbers. We're really good with a vision. We're not very good with numbers. We don't like numbers so much. So it's counterintuitive to just say successful business owner. You got to say, how much do I, like, what does success mean to you in numbers? Does that mean you're making 100,000 a year, $500,000 a year? Like, what does success mean to you in that aspect, right? Just like, what does success mean to you in your weight loss journey? Right? Numbers are your friend. We can't act in feelings because feelings betray us. Feelings change day to day. You can't rely on them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Ash?
I just said organized for my last one. So like
Okay.
make a daily schedule, make a to-do list, communicate with my partner.
Cool. And what are you doing on that list? What have you done on that list?
Well, I made a daily schedule.
Well,
So I'm trying to stick to that right now. But
love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I love it, guys. That was awesome. I think that was one of my favorite lives so far. This is fun doing this stuff. Does anybody else want to ask any questions? Anybody else want to share anything? Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
So related to Ashley's whole plan,
Mhm.
I was there when I started. Everything on her list.
Wow.
The goal, everything, and I guess I did make it. So keep going. I can congratulate her on just being organized on it.
Good.
And also, one of my things was getting back into this
Mhm.
was I needed to drink more water. My proof
more
was
water.
I bought a soda stream,
Beautiful. There it is.
1 liter more a day
Beautiful.
by buying it.
Beautiful. And that should completely, like, all of these amazing points, this amazing evidence, like you're superwoman, and you should have no overwhelm. It should be squashed. Look at all the steps you're taking forward. Squash the overwhelm. Overwhelm, again, it makes you inactive. It makes you not act. So awesome there.
One more point.
Yeah.
I think I'm evidence of that because I stalled for 4 weeks. Totally.
That's okay. But then in those moments, right, that's when you pull out this list and you're like, look what I did. I can do it again, right? Where am I struggling the most? Is it workouts? I'm going to focus there. Where's my evidence? I went for a walk today. I did some meditation and worked on my breathing. Like small, doesn't have to go crazy. Small things that are better than yesterday. That's all. As long as you're 1% better than last time. I don't think asking for 1% is that much to ask for. Am I right? Being 1% better? No, it's not much to ask for. So 1% better every day, and you can't not reach your goals, guys. The only way you don't reach your goals is if you quit. That's it. This is a game. This is a game, and the only way you lose is if you stop playing. Okay, so if you pause for a little bit, that's okay. But if you stop playing completely, you'll never reach your goals. But you will 100% without a doubt in my mind. It's only a matter of time, as long as you don't give up. And Winston Churchill said it best. His simple speech, it was never, never, never give up. That's it. That's it. So I'll give it about 1 more minute, guys. Anything else you guys?